Hey, welcome to Epilogue. In this episode, I get to sit down with Russell Johnson, and we are going to dive a little bit deeper into what I think, and I think Russell would agree, is one of the most difficult passages in the book of 1 John. And hopefully, as we dive a little deeper, we can help make a little more sense of it. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Well, here we are again, Russell.
Yep.
We took a week off for spring break. What'd you do
did.
over spring break?
What did I do for spring break? We didn't do a whole lot. We were going to go to my parents in East Texas. Mom got sick, so that was a bummer. So we ended up hanging out at the house. We went to a Rockets-Mavs game, so that was fun here in town. So
nice.
We did that.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Who that $1 million question, who are you rooting for?
We're Mavs fans.
Okay. I am too. Yeah.
But the Mavs are terrible. Well, Mavs are terrible now that they've traded Luka and everyone's injured. So they're I think a player or two away from having to forfeit games. Yeah. So that was fun to at least watch everybody on the bench play, because they only had 8 guys, so they all played, and they got beat by 30 or 40. But we stayed till the end, and it was fun just to be there. And Rockets have a great team this year, so there you go.
Fun times, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What'd you do?
Oh, I took last week off actually, and my kids didn't have. We homeschool, and so Heather's like, you can't do any school.
Spring break.
Yeah, so we're just like no school. Yeah. And they didn't have any of their evening stuff, and so we just played some games. We watched some movies. We celebrated a birthday, and then I did some electrical work out in the garage for a couple days. And
Oof.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
So it was good. Good times.
Work with your head, rest with your hands, kind of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I get you.
Yeah, it was all good, man. So. So fun to jump in, and what a great passage to get back in our rhythm here. We were in 1 John, end of 1 John 2, beginning of 1 John 3.
Yep.
And some tricky passages in here, man.
Yeah, I think this is probably the hardest passage in 1 John.
Yeah.
3, 1 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
2, 28 and 29, not so much, right?
Yeah.
Just the idea that we want to be ready, but then when you get into especially verses 4 through 10, it just seems like John is contradicting exactly what he said people shouldn't be saying in chapter 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So chapter 1, he says what? Yeah, anyone who says he doesn't sin,
he's a liar.
He's a liar, yeah. And then the truth isn't in him, yeah.
And then in verse 4, he says, everyone who sins, sorry, I'm in the wrong one. Everyone who practices sin also practices lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. And then down there in verse 7, he says, make sure no one deceives you. The one who practices righteousness is righteous, and the one who practices sin is of the devil.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you go, what do you do with that?
Well, I can't say I don't sin, but if I do sin, I'm a lawlessness, and I'm of the devil.
Yeah. And So, and in verse 6 as well, he said, if you say you don't sin, you're lying. So in other words, everyone, we're all going to sin. We're all going to sin, right?
Yeah.
And the solution to that is Jesus, right? Confessing our sins, receiving that cleansing, walking in the light, all that stuff. But then you go to verse 6 as well. I mean, in the middle of those two verses you just read, and it says, no one who abides in him sins. And then no one who sins has seen him or knows him.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes where, I mean, this section right here, I think actually is one of the sections that leads to people interpreting the book of 1 John as this is a test to see if you're in or out. What's that measurement of sin in your life?
Yeah.
And so you and I were talking about this earlier, because of this issue, because of that seeming contradiction that you taught this past Sunday. It's not actually a contradiction.
Yeah, no.
But because of that, there's some interpretations that treat this a little bit differently, right?
Yeah. So when you look at it, most people would say, hey, we recognize John's not saying one thing in chapter 1 and then something else in chapter 3.
Right.
So we recognize that. They also, our lived experience tells us, along with Romans and other places, we are going to sin. So, what do we do with a passage that seems to say that we shouldn't be sinning?
Yeah.
When John has already said that, and you have people trying to handle it in a couple of ways. Now, on Sunday mornings, I'm not trying to give multiple approaches to the passage.
Sure. Yeah.
It's number one, I don't have time. I barely have time to give my approach to the passage,
Right.
much less 3 other approaches to the passage. And so like when you look at 6 is really good, right? Because it's I didn't get a chance to hone in as much as I would have wanted to, but that tail end 2 words, knows him.
Yeah.
There's that know again. That's a stative verb that's in the imperfect, which tells us this is about intimacy.
Intimacy.
And you really could, if you wanted to. I mean, no one who abides in him, in Christ, no one who's in a fellowship, friendship, interacting relationship with Jesus, right? And then when you look at it, it says, no one who sins has seen him or has intimacy with him. And I think seen is also in the imperfect. And so you have both of those declaring intimacy here.
Yes.
And so
he's saying the same thing twice in the same verse, right?
Absolutely. So when you look at it, you really, if I wanted to, I could have just kind of branched out from 6 and said, hey, he's really just saying what he's been saying the entire time. Nothing new. This is about abiding. And when we're sinning, to act like our fellowship with Jesus is somehow at its height is a lie, and that's not true.
Yeah. I mean, he said already back in chapter 1, you can't walk in the darkness and in the light at the same time. He said in chapter 2, you can't love the world and love the Father at the same time. It's impossible. And see, and this is the same thing. You can't remain in sin and say you're tight with Jesus, right? You can't keep sinning and say, man, you're having sweet fellowship and you know him intimately. You may have a relationship with him, but you're not walking with him.
That's right.
But honestly, like a lot of people don't come to that same interpretation. And so they'll say like, if you well, the passage says no one who sinned, literally in the Greek, no one who sins has seen him or knows him. So if you're going to say no one who sins knows him, you got an uh-oh moment there. And so you have to reinterpret that, which leads to actually some translations.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I think ESV, I forget what the ESV says.
Yeah, the ESV. So when you look at it, you can focus on 1 or 2 words.
Sure.
So you can focus on knows him and make that salvific.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is that's how some people would interpret it.
Yeah. So we translated it with the imperfect tense showing emphasis, intensification.
Intensity of knowledge, intimacy, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
That's how we interpret it.
But if you make that salvation, then all of a sudden, then I've got to come over here and I got to define sin differently.
Yeah.
So like if people want to sit back and say, hey, you're doing too much with the word no, well, then I would say, well, you're just doing too much with the word sin.
Yeah, it's good.
You know what I mean? Like, which one are we going to do something with? So we were talking about this, the way the ESV handles it is they say this in verse 4, everyone who makes a practice of sinning instead of everyone who practices sin.
Yeah.
So they added this idea of makes a practice. So that changes the idea of just present active indicative, I'm sinning, to I'm actively making this an intentional, habitual, regular lifestyle. I've heard it called that, like a lifestyle sin. So let's just read it like that. Everyone who has a lifestyle of sinning also practices lawlessness, because sin is lawlessness. And then when you go down there to verse 6, no one who abides in him keeps on with a lifestyle of sin, and no one who keeps on lifestyle sinning has either seen him or knows him. And then verse 7, whoever practices or has a lifestyle of righteousness is righteous. Ooh, good grief. That just told me my righteousness is based on my lifestyle, which is a different thing. We won't talk about that. But whoever has a lifestyle of sinning is of the devil.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden I got to figure out, Jamey, what is a lifestyle of sin?
Yeah. what's the measure of that, right? Like
when does my sinning cross over into a lifestyle of sin? Now, if I'm holding the bar pretty low, I'm a lifestyle sinner.
Yeah.
And I've been a lifestyle sinner for 47 years.
Yeah, you and me both.
But I look at that and say, gosh, does that mean if I have what if I have an addiction? Is that what if my addiction is XYZ, fill in the blank, then that means I'm making a practice of it. I keep doing it. I keep confessing the same sin over and over again, Jamey.
Right.
And if that's the case, then maybe I should look at this and say I'm lawless and I'm of the devil.
Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me super nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what's the measure of making it a practice or habitual? Is that once a week? Is that once a day? Is that once a month? Is that once a year? At what point do you cross into that, and what frequency? And so we would just say, no.
Yeah.
Like when I confess that just means that, man, I wasn't abiding with Jesus in that moment.
That's right.
I broke my intensity of fellowship with him when I sinned.
That's right.
Right. And
let's just look at that just for a moment, right? The hard part about trying to figure out once a week, once a month, once a year, whatever. I don't know if many people are like me or not, but I'm always going to compare my lifestyle of sin to someone else's.
Right.
So if I look at somebody else and say, gosh, they do that 3 times a day, but I just do it once a week. So I must not be.
I'm pretty good. Right.
I'm good.
Right. And that's exactly what Jesus was speaking to the Pharisees about. I mean,
yes.
Like they were just comparing themselves to everybody else. And so comparatively, it's comparative righteousness.
Yeah.
That's not what he's talking about here.
No.
There's no comparative righteousness. There's no comparative unrighteousness. It's just, it's either unrighteous or righteous. And you talked about the root of that. One being God and his spirit. The other is just the devil, right? What's the source of it, right? And so he's actually pretty black and white here.
Absolutely.
In terms of sin or righteousness. There's no sliding scale of okay, you're sliding into habitual or that's not what he's talking about. It's pretty black and white.
Yeah.
And so, NIV is similar. Verse 6, they say, no one who lives in him keeps on sinning, right? So, and then no one who continues to sin has either seen him or know him. So you see they're trying to deal with seen and know or abiding in him being relationship, not fellowship, right?
Yeah.
So, very, very similar there. And so we're just here saying, there aren't those qualifiers on the Greek word of sin. It just is sin. The one who sins.
Once you start putting lifestyle makes a practice, then we have to start figuring out all of the things that would determine that.
Yeah.
So that I'm not worried about my salvation.
Yeah.
The other thing that becomes for me when I look at it, the other thing it comes it's just a slippery slope of, man, we begin to look at other people and make declarative statements about their salvation or not based on what we see in them. Mm-hmm. So we could say something like, man, they've been struggling with this addiction for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
You might need to check and see if you're a believer or not.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, not only does this person have to feel the weight of dealing with this sin on a regular basis, now they have to deal with the weight of, is Jesus' cross and blood enough for me?
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, now we've just crushed them with the weight of sin is hard enough. And then the weight of wondering if the death, burial, and resurrection is enough is crushing. It's defeating.
That is a lot of weight to live under, man.
Oh man, it's terrible.
And I think that's the grace. Grace is the antidote to that weight. I mean,
Absolutely.
Grace lifts the weight off of us and takes it and puts it on Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty even of how you taught it on Sunday. Taught this section on Sunday. I loved your title, and we laughed about this. But who's your daddy, right? Who are you gonna serve, man? What are you gonna? Because when you are walking with Jesus and producing righteousness, that's serving the Lord because that's from him, right?
Yes.
When you're walking in sin and unrighteousness, you're serving somebody else, man. Like, and because the source of that is the devil himself.
Yeah.
And so, who's your daddy? Who are you gonna follow? Who are you gonna serve? What are you gonna manifest in your life, right?
Yeah. That back in when he talks about, by this it is evident who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. And I know no believer wants to say I'm a child of the devil, but the reality is we have the Spirit within us, and we have this flesh, and I choose moment by moment which of those I'm going to live in.
Yeah.
And when I choose to allow the flesh to have its way, I'm allowing the devil to work in my life, through my life, and whatever. And no one wants to call yourself a child of the devil, but that's the reality.
But and that's actually how Jesus spoke. John spent a lot of time with Jesus, and what did Jesus call Peter?
Yeah.
Get behind me, Satan. Yeah, I mean, it's like, whoa. Like he's spoken pretty black and white terms. Like, that's not a truthful statement. Get behind me, Satan. Like, that's a lie. And what's the root? Who's the author of lies? It's the devil.
Yeah.
Get behind me, Satan.
Yeah.
Like, that's not saying he is Satan, or he's not a
or was
believer
demon possessed at the moment.
He's black and white about sin and righteousness, truth and lies. Like, it's light and darkness. I mean, that's how Jesus spoke, and that's how John is speaking.
Absolutely.
And and so you and you have talked about this as well. And man, it's just like you said, you just can't, in a 35, 40-minute sermon, you don't have enough time to dig into a lot of this. And I think you actually taught this, right? But like when you're saying who's your daddy, there's this concept throughout this section, like. There's a word in there in the Greek. It's phanero, I think it's the Greek word. And I think John uses it 9 times in the book of 1 John.
Yeah.
6 of those usages are in this section. And it's the word manifest.
Yeah. Or appear. Yeah.
Yeah, or appear. Or like even shine. Like, and so like when you say who's your daddy, you're almost saying who are you going to manifest, and who's going to shine out of you? It's either sin or righteousness. Like, and I don't know if you want to talk about that any, but I just think that's a really cool concept to dig in on this. I mean, where I started, where I think it starts is in chapter 2, verses 28 and 29, when he says, so that when he appears, when he manifests, there's our word. And then when you go to chapter 3 and you begin to work our way down there, again in verse 2, he says, we know that when he appears. And then verse 5, you know that he appeared, made manifest. And he says it again in verse 7, this time to conquer the devil. And then at the very end, where it really makes that clear, it's translated differently in the NASB, but it's the same word. By this it is evident, or manifest, or appears, who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. So when I'm sinning, like no one's wondering. Oh, I wonder if he's living in the spirit or living in the flesh. No, it's pretty clear. I'm living in the flesh, and when those rare moments when I actually submit to the Spirit, you can be like, hey, he's living by the Spirit. So it's obvious. It manifests. And I read Galatians 5, and same word thing
is used for the works of the flesh. It is evident. It's the word is actually translated obvious there. Same concept.
Yeah. And it's brilliant how he uses that word. So he's saying, what are you going to manifest? Like, I mean, even saying that, like, we'll go back to 1 John. It says the life was manifest.
Yes.
And we've seen it. So he's talking about eternal life being manifest through Jesus.
Yeah.
And so, like, then he's going to come back one day and be made manifest. And then it hasn't been, what is that? Verse 2, we're children of God, and it has not been made manifest or appeared as yet what we will be. We know when he is manifest, we'll be like him because we'll see him just like he is. And that's glory. You talked about glorification. So that's glorification, man. We're gonna like it's hard to even imagine what we are going to appear like and what he is going to appear like, but that's coming.
Yeah.
And so now as we look to that day, that's everyone who has that hope on him purifies himself.
Yeah.
And so who are you going to manifest now, right? Like, what are you going to manifest now? Righteousness, sin, and so that kind of thread going throughout it. Who's your daddy? You know, you perfectly summed it up with that phrase. But
little edgy, but
hey, man,
it worked.
I dug it. I really like that. So
and when you think through, so just to kind of tie it all together for us. When we think about abiding, when we think about intimacy with Jesus, right? And he starts this section by saying, we don't want to shrink back when he appears. Yeah. And when we're living as children of God, abiding with Jesus, submitting to the Spirit, allowing the fruits of love, joy, peace, patience to manifest in us, man, the reality of Jesus coming back is sweeter and nearer, and there's a confidence as we can't wait for that. Yeah. But the reality is we shirk back from it when we live a life of sin, allowing the source of our flesh and the enemy to take root, then we would have shame.
Yeah.
Because we recognize we're not living by the source that we should have. Yeah. That's future. That's not even really to deal with all the blessings we miss in the here and now. But in this passage, if we're talking about the future at a time when Jesus appears, then our confidence comes not in us, but allowing the source of God, the Holy Spirit in us, that seed he talks about, to be manifest. So anyway. Fun passage, but a hard one for sure.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job Sunday. Honestly, like if anybody's watching today, man, I just want to look at you and say, go back and watch this last week's sermon. I think, Russell, you did a great job taking one of the hardest passages in this book and making it really crystal clear. And so, yeah.
If you need some sleeping material, just watch that sermon. It'll put you to sleep quick.
Well, awesome, man. Hey, thanks for diving a little deeper on that.
Yeah, super fun.
It's super encouraging, especially when it comes to some tricky passages like this. And so
you got it.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us on Epilogue. Join us next time as we continue to dive deep into the book of 1 John.